Alright, YouTube, I am getting ready to do another video, and this one, a little bit of fun, a little bit of seriousness. As you can see from the title, what the frack is that? And I don't know if you can really start to see it yet, but right in this area, we're going to find it underneath this grill. I took this apart the other day, and maybe it was coincidence. I started sneezing while working on it, and I just kind of closed it back up because I was a little concerned about something. And the very next day after, I ended up getting sick. And again, maybe that's coincidence, but we're going to take a look under the microscope and see what we see. I'm a little better prepared for this today, and hopefully, if it was what made me sick, whatever is in it, I've already built up a tolerance to. I'm kind of stalling at the moment though because I want to check and make sure that this video is posting with its real data. I had some other videos that came through and maybe it's not going to show, but they all kept the same title even though I changed them every single time. I had to go back in and manually re-edit. So let's see if we can... And yeah, it's not loading up. I don't know if PlayStation, or not PlayStation, what am I talking about? If YouTube has changed something, but it does appear to be loading when I reload that live stream window. So I'm going to go ahead and close one of those, and we're going to push this over to the side and bring that back just so that I can watch and make sure that the stream is kind of staying as it needs to go. Alright, so we're going to pull out the hard drive, and we're not going to say whose machine this is. You know, we're not going to put anybody on blast over having a pretty dirty console, and I have seen worse than this, but never have I quite seen this particular growth, and that is this. See how this looks so black? And often repair gets glamorized on YouTube, and you don't see the gritty side, the icky side. This is it. Black mold is what came to mind. We're going to look at it under microscope and see if we can get a better idea of what is going on here. And it may just be some really dark and dreary stuff. Man, that's dirty. It doesn't look as bad under the microscope. It looks like it may just be some serious dirt clumps. Alright, let's actually put this microscope where you can see it. Yeah, it looked way more black until the light hit it. Let's see if we can get a good zoom in on this. I don't know if a zoom really works for those viewing online. I just don't know if we get the clarity of image there. What is all that? I mean, that just doesn't look like your normal dust. And we're going to zoom back out. And this is thick and clumpy like dirt. Now, sometimes heavy smokers that smoke with their PlayStations, it can get kind of resiny and oil. But look at that. It's just some different looking dust. And it doesn't look like that really anywhere else on the board. But this is right at the fan, so I guess that would be the worst of it. Alright, so what we're going to do here so that we don't scatter this into the wind and start breathing it in. Because we're going to wipe. Yeah, but look at that. That is not like your normal dust color. That is straight up black. This is black. And it's not normally how the dust will get off of these machines. You get more of kind of that gray. In fact, let's see if we can pull some of this. You get that little bit of black, but it almost has like a brown tinge to it. So just kind of wiping over this, because when we lift, we don't want it to spread. And I'm hoping that we're going to get a better idea of what we're working with when we lift to go into this fan. So let's for a moment put this back. And we're going to go back to our Logitech camera. And the more I watch these in hindsight, the more I think I really want to upgrade eventually on the external camera. See, again, the dust here, there's still some gooky parts. It almost looks like something spilled in there. And again, that could start being a cause of growth, is it looks kind of like some type of fluid got in there. A little dirty, but not extremely bad on the power supply. And it really doesn't look as bad on the top of this fan as it did on that underside. But I've already disconnected all of that. Oh yeah, I think that's what made me stop, is when I flipped this thing over. I realized this is just raunchy. Alright, so let's go back to our scope. In fact, we're going to go one at a time. Move this over. Switch back to our camera view. And we're going to parfocal this camera. Parfocal our sight. Alright, and now we should be able to go back and forth. Alright, so here we're going to get some much better views of this stuff. And again, it doesn't look as bad here, but this is so thick and clumpy. Why? Why is it that way? I'm not going to smell it. Normally I would kind of get a whiff and see if I smell tobacco, but I don't want to inhale this stuff. I mean, it looks curdled almost. It's really weird. Oh, you're not seeing what I'm playing with. Let's see. Yeah, it has almost looks like little like pores or eggs or aliens. I don't know what the hell is growing in this thing, but it is kind of disgusting. It's like clumpy and it's got like little beads in it. It's like coagulated dust. Let's see what else we can find. We're going to kind of scan this board. See if we see any more goodies. Like I said, often repairs are glamorized. Most of the times they're just dirty and messy. Let's go back over here towards this back. As we get back to this back corner, yeah, there we go. Look at that. Alright, so it's weird. It's like we got, it almost looks like dirt. Like somebody threw sand into the fan. But then obviously you got the dust. And then you got this black stuff. And it's kind of disgusting. It's like an ugly dog. It's just so ugly you gotta keep staring at it. It's that kind of face you love to hate. What is growing in this thing? This dust has taken on a life of its own. It's not dust anymore. I don't know what it is. Look at this. Oh, ugh. Why does it look like it's a tumor? This PlayStation has a tumor. That's what it is. Look at that. They're like little, it almost looks like sacks, but they're not. There's some type of like dust ball within a dust ball within a dust ball. It's the damn, what is that? What's the word I'm looking for? The movie. Somebody knows. Somebody definitely knows. Let's see, I often forget to pay attention to the chat. What is that movie called? Inception. It's the inception of dust. It's dust within dust within dust. And then we go all the way back here to this battery panel. And again, this doesn't look so bad. It's nice and dark. It's like a, it looks like what happens when you've got like oil like in a workshop floating in the air. I wonder if like this was maybe used in an automotive mechanic shop. Who knows? I'll have to ask the customer. Again, I'm not going to divulge who they are, but maybe this was being used in an area that had like atomized oil in the air. I mean, I don't think that's it though, because the body of it doesn't look like it's coated. And if that was the case, I would expect there to be a film kind of on the PlayStation itself. But we're not seeing that. We just see this really icky dust. And alright, we're going to switch from this board. And I mean, this stuff is just, it's everywhere. It's kind of spread throughout. I take that back. It's not everywhere. This area over here is fairly normal. This is where our power supply would be connecting, so we're getting to that back part. This is the front part where our fan is, and we're seeing that obviously this was being sucked out of the air of wherever this person was and being pulled into the PlayStation. We're going to pull back up the frame here, and we're going to get a little naughty and take it off. I said that I wouldn't do this, but sometimes you just get intrigued by something. And this is me just having fun on a Friday. I'm not going to disturb this too much, because like I said, I don't know what is in this. I do know that it was, or it had a little bit of fluid on the case, and I believe that was near the airport. I'll have to look at it again and compare, but I'm pretty sure that it was. And like I said, that it could be that started growing some kind of mold or something, especially if a soda got in there and just kind of got nasty. And then that fan just started pulling and sucking it in and then blowing it all around the PlayStation. So let's go ahead. We're going to switch back to our main view. And let's just do kind of a general look over. So again, the fan area, actually that's not, yes, no, wait, hold up. Yes, that is our fan area here. So fan area is where it all concentrated. Oh, and look at that. Ugh. Okay, this we're starting to see more of that clumpy, just resin caked dust, dirt, doo-doo, whatever you want to call it. Let's go back to scope big. See if we can get you guys in focus. Alright, and the subject sits very tall, so I'm having to readjust all of this. And I'm actually going to be looking at it through the camera with you because it's a little higher than what I can tippy-toe to. Look at that. This is just nasty. Okay, and I do think we had some mold growth because I'm seeing like a tinge of green here to this. So we've got black, we've got gray, we've got green, and just look at that. Oh yeah, that is kind of nasty. And now this is actually obstructing airflow at this point. Oh yeah, there's definitely some green in that. We're going to sit this off to the side and we'll look at it under that scope a little better. So what I'm doing is just kind of digging it out. Now I have my air purifier running on full. I want it to suck all this shit out of the air. I don't want this stuff floating around. Alright, let's see what we can see. that is about as icky as it gets. Alright, so this is just some of what came off from that fan. We have like before I started pulling it all off, it was probably a 40% blockage on that fan, and of that surface area that was blocked, I'd probably say that the thickness of that, I have seen thicker, just not in this dark nastiness kind of resonated clump. But I mean, I would probably say that the airflow where this was at was probably blocked about 80%. It's pretty thick. Maybe 60, somewhere between 60 and 80%. And I'm just guesstimating here. I didn't actually test that airflow. But I mean, look at how this stuff is dense. Look at that. I can pick it up and shake it, and it all wants to stay together. It's probably a good thing. Like I said, I don't want this floating around in my room. Not a great way to make the workroom filled with whatever this crap is. Alright, so don't know what exactly this all consists of, but this shit looks hazardous to your health. If anyone's hungry, send me a message. We'll pack it up, ship it to you, and you can put that on top of some sushi. That beats wasabi any day of the week. Alright, so as far as dirtiness goes, the last thing we're going to look at, and let's go ahead and, oh, that is the worst. I just got an itch on the back of my neck, and I'm not going to scratch it with these fingers. There's no worse feeling than an itch you cannot scratch. Alright, so let's do a quick, die. Whatever you are, infectious or not, we're not going to find out. So if this was let's say a soda contamination, and it started growing a mold which was being spread by that fan, I mean, that actually can be pretty hazardous to one's health. If it does start growing a mold, that fan is going to blow those mold spores straight out. And then they're just kind of floating, drifting. And that is just, that's gross. Alright, that is what is wiped off of this small area. This whole thing is going to have to go in the ultrasonic and get cleaned, because that is just nasty. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen it come out quite that black. Alright, the last thing we're going to do here, it may be paranoia, but I swear that my nose is getting stuffed up as we're doing this. Now, I showed in a previous video how you can pop these fans apart and do a service on them. I will do that, but I think I'm going to take this outside to do it with. I'm not going to do that inside, because then it's going to shake all of those particulates free. Well, not all of them, but a good majority of them. Let's go ahead and move this out. Well, you can see in the little side camera, I don't know if there's anything really noteworthy to this part. I mean, it's definitely more of that dense dust. But this is where blowing air into this machine without taking it apart would have never solved this issue. I could do that all day long, and it's not going to fix anything. I mean, that dust won't even move with shaking it around. Maybe I could pop it off and clean it in here without it losing anything, because it doesn't want to budge. It is stuck on there. It's sticky and kind of congealed to whatever it's contacted. But I'm still going to take that outside. We're not going to do that inside. Let's take a quick look on the front side. Oh, look at that down in there. That is disgusting. And this stuff is just, I mean, it came from whatever area it was in. It's almost like this thing was taken to war and used in the battlefield. This is a Battlefield PlayStation 4. Anyone that wants a PlayStation 4 that's seen some things, maybe this customer wants to sell. It might be better to get a new one than to put this one back into action. That's not true. We're going to clean it. We're going to get all this crap out of there. And if I get sick again tomorrow, then we know it came from this, and at that point, well, it should be clean by then, but if it's not, then it might be sent back and said, no. Alright, so even these gloves have turned black. I'm actually, well, I guess I will use these to transport. We're going to take this to the cleaning station, and all of that is going to get dunked, because that is not going to go up my nose. Alright, so let's see if we can demonstrate just how awful this was. Let's switch back to our... this is just slivers of it. This has no amount of the bulk. Just what's coming off my gloves is turning this black. Let's go ahead and we're going to switch back to... and let's clean it up. Let's see if we notice... I'm going to need another one. I usually clean my pad every so many jobs. But I mean, this one, you just can't even skip one. This is just bits and pieces of what is on that PlayStation 4. I can tell you this much, I did not charge enough. No matter how much I charged, it wouldn't be enough. If I had knew this going in, I probably would have rejected it from repair. And if I wasn't just an idiot that liked to make weird live streams, I probably should have then said, I'm sorry, this can't be fixed. But instead, I open up who knows what to make a video. Sounds like a brilliant idea. That pad was completely done. Let's try another one of these. Alright, I did see, I made a comment before about these. Now, I think the box does say lint-free, but I'm going to have to check again. But somebody said these are low lint. And you know what? I believe it. These are Chemtech wipes. I think low lint is a more accurate description of them, because if you use them hard enough, they start to put lint down. But if you use them as just like a general wipe, I've never really had a problem. But if you get abrasive on them, they break apart and they start putting lint out. So maybe, let's see what the box says while I'm thinking of it. Delicate Task Wiper. This is the Science brand. Sounds pretty specific to the task. Delicate Task Wiper, Science brand. And these are legit. This is not some knockoff. These were purchased from, what was it called? Uline. I bought a box and I still got plenty of them. They last a while. Alright, but enough of that. Yeah, I thought they said low lint. I don't see that here, so maybe they never claimed it and I just imagined it. Probably somebody said they were, and I was gullible at the moment and go, yeah, lint-free, let's get them. Because even these lint-free cloths from China, they cost a bit of money for what they're giving. In comparison to, these are expensive as well, but when you buy a box of, I forget how many were in it, like 20, 25, 30, I don't know, something. It becomes a lot more cost effective and was a better deal than buying a bulk order of those lint-free cloths. But I might have to buy some more of those. Alright, so pad is cleaned, and I'm pretty sure if you rewind this video, you're going to see that this did not look quite as bright and nice as it did a minute ago. And maybe there was a little bit of dirt on it from before, but I actually did wipe down at least this area earlier today. And it now looks a lot different than it did a few minutes ago. So some pretty nasty stuff going on inside of that PS4. That's going to get washed, cleaned, and then this board will be fixed. Can't remember what exactly was the issue for this board, but let's take a quick look at our ticket and see if we can find out. I don't think it was an overheat, which is surprising. Now, it did turn on, if I remember correctly, so I'm thinking we had an HDMI issue. It was probably the submitted problem. And if it is, it's amazing it doesn't have more than that going on with it. Some PS4s can't take a beating. Some of them can. I guess it's the luck of the draw. And pulling up notes. Okay, yes, so no display out. It did turn on. Everything appeared to be fine, so we're looking at HDMI issue, which was completely unrelated to the overall condition of that machine. But we're going to get it back squared away, get it working as it should. I think, if I remember correctly, from turning it on, it definitely showed signs of restricted airflow in terms of temperature increase, and that is where all of that debris inside comes into play. It was pretty much just blocking airflow and creating inefficient cooling, so it's going to run at like kind of a rough idle. You're going to hear that fan kind of kicking up even when the machine's doing nothing, and at times of extreme gameplay it could even get close to an overheat that would cause the red beeping lights, which is a shutdown for thermal issues. So if you're having a condition like that, don't wait until something else goes wrong like your HDMI. This would have probably not have been quite as bad as it is now if listening to those signs of fan spin and other things going on with the machine would have been, for a lack of a better term, listened to, and you know, your PlayStation has its own way of telling you when it's in need of service, and usually that way is through fan spins. If you hear that fan spinning in ways that it normally shouldn't, don't just slowly get used to it. Address the problem, and that problem is typically it needs to be cleaned or it needs new thermal paste. The HDMI, as we see time and time again, is usually a problem from user error of not pulling the HDMI straight out, but it is an easy thing to get fixed and pretty much something that gets serviced in almost every major area. So nothing big here, but other than the fact that there may have been some health hazards with that PS4. So again, that's it for today. Just doing kind of a little bit of a fun video in an icky sort of way, but something different from the normal. Rather than looking at the repairs, looking at the process before the repair, dealing with some of the not so fabulous side of the repair, but the things that it takes to get the job done. So if you have a repair tech that's dealt with one of these issues for you or for someone you know, give them a pat on the back, because after that, they deserve it. Again, YouTube, that is it for today. There will be more videos to come. If you like this video and want to see more like it, go ahead and put that down into the comment sections. If you want to see less of this video or videos like these and more that are strictly just about repairs, then also put that in the comment section. Again, if you liked what you saw, go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you'd like to get notifications for when new videos are posted. Until the next stream, I will see you all later.